Welcome everyone, our first webinar live, and this is 3P African Educators, 3PAE. We are very much excited for our shows to continue moving ahead, and today we are so much excited with our sharing in schools, where our topic is 3P in schools. And of course, we are having Adult School and Success Roads. So Taiwa Phillips, manager Nakivale 3PAE4 department, and I will be hosting this show with my co-host Jamkama Sylvia Kagoda. I'm based in Nakivale Refugee Settlement, Uganda, and this is where we are sharing 3 principles and where it started. And 3 principles were covered by 3 banks. And we are happy because of sharing spirit of 3P around Africa and beyond, alleviating human suffering in communities, schools, and organizations. And for our new members joining this show today, this 3P African educators are meeting every 2 weeks on Tuesday, this time 6 p.m. Uganda, Kenya time. And remember, we are sharing and listening to go together. So we are very happy for this show to be moving ahead, and for your continuous joining this show is really encouraging us that 3 principles have been really blessing and helpful. So as I continue to share, this will be our agenda for today. I will also do a brief sharing about my experience in schools, as I have been also studied in primary schools, secondary school. So I was sharing that we shall continue after my sharing. We hear from my co-host Sylvia, also how she'll be sharing on how 3 principles have been a blessing to her, or even in the schools, her own insights on how she has encountered these 3 principles. So I welcome everyone again to this show, and I would like to share a bit about my understanding in schools, or as I encountered my story, how I was studying, like mostly in primary. I was mentioning that when we were always schooling in primary, our school had some punishments. For example, you go at school, maybe you are late because you have been home doing some other work. Now, when you reach at school, the teacher wants to punish you, wants to give some corporal punishment, would give some canes. And of course, you could feel so much anger. And I go home when I'm not even happy. I enter in school, I enter in class when I'm not feeling myself because I have been punished, because I came late at school and yet I had some other work I was doing. But through that, I did not realize that maybe if there is a challenge that I'm facing at school, I had to forgive myself about that. Neither the teacher could not know exactly what is doing to me, should not be repeating it. But I could continue suffering. I get that anger at the school. Do this, you are late, do this, like you have done certain things wrong, then they had to punish me. So I grew in that way until I had to finish primary school. With that anger, feeling that maybe the teachers were hating me, but it was coming into me because I never had understanding about love of myself. I never had understanding about forgiveness of myself. So I could continue just repeating the same mistakes and not even forgiving myself, but just keeping like that hatred that maybe teachers are not like loving me. Yet when I have done something wrong, I could have now realized I came at school late or have done something wrong. Now I should forgive myself and go ahead. So this topic of sleeping in schools as a major in Africa teachers are encountering a lot with kids who are coming from different areas to join schools. And I know it has been so much blessing for 3Ps because when they have now come into schools, the teachers have come to learn a lot from them. Even the students have come to learn a lot from 3 principals. Now, forgiveness and love that I never had in my own studying before, I have now come to learn about them after encountering 3 principles. And now I continue now going ahead. So I was sharing that what I was passing on in schools before, it was because of a lot of noise. I could just keep powering into me. But now I came to understand that if I have to quiet my mind and understand and I grow in what I've been like encountering, it has made me now to understand exactly how to handle experiences that I was passing through that now I share into others, also to change themselves, letting go of what had happened, understanding that now I'm now living, let's say, in hardship, but myself, I have to take away that hardship by understanding the right use of thought and knowing how the nature is. So with sleeping in schools, I know it is so much powerful topic, and we've been facing a lot here in Africa as in schools, people not loving themselves, teachers not loving themselves, and at the same time, you find the way they now teach, the way they now comfort the students that have come to school has also been so important to understand, which is so good. So before I go so much into sharing, I will welcome my co-host also, Sylvia, to introduce herself. Then we shall also call upon our special guest also to share.
Thank you so much, Philip. Hello, everyone. You're most welcome. I am called Biamkama Sylvia Kagoda. I'm also happy to be here, and I'm happy to see all of you, and I'm excited to be here with my husband. He's right beside me. For those who don't know him, that's him. Yeah, and he says hello. So today we are excited to have the 3P African educators as always. Every Tuesday, we have it every 2 Tuesdays of a month. It's twice. And today our topic, as Philip was saying, 3Ps in schools. Yeah. When we talk about schools here in Africa, it's not so different from Philip's story. Most of the African schools, they have these tendencies of heavy punishment, yelling, shouting. It's one way of making the kids learn very quickly and be obedient. You know, they tend that it's one way of controlling the kid to do what you want him to do, whereby it's not right. After learning the 3Ps, that is not right. Rather, you are just damaging, you are distracting, you are destroying this kid. You are making the kid something worse than what you didn't want him to have. So most African schools, it is not different from what Philip has said. We all went through those heavy punishments. We went through those yellings, those shoutings, the slappings. Yeah, because they wanted us to be in the right way, to do what they want us to do. But after learning the 3Ps, we got to know that that is definitely not the way it should be. So giving an example of where I work from right now, I work in the northern part of Uganda in a district called Kitgum. I work with children, and sometimes we do visit schools and we teach about the 3Ps. So the children we work with, we are teaching them a new way of bringing them up, nurturing them. And that is teaching them about the love, you know, love. You just have to love them. When you love them, they'll simply do what you want them to do. It's not all about shouting, yelling, beating. It's not all about showing how tough you are for a kid to understand what you are saying. No, it's not all about that. So we have got a new method of teaching them what you want them to learn, just through the 3Ps. So as the program is going on, We are going to hear very many different stories from all of us, from me personally, from Philip, from our guests, from other members who are here. I know every one of us has a different experience of the school you were in or you are in, and would love to hear the story, would love to hear the differences between each of our schools. And I believe by the time we'll end this, we will have learned the best way to handle our children. So thank you so much, Philip. I give it back to you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sylvia. And we are going to have our guest speakers here, and we shall start from Gervin Baila. Gervin is a CDP teacher at Success Roots in Nakivale Refugee Settlement, and is a peace ambassador. He's also a founder of Action for Peace and Nonviolence. So you are most welcome, Gervin. You can share to us with how CDP in schools is moving so that people can learn more from you. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Gervin Baila Kitwika, as Mr. Phillips has said it. I'm a 3P African educator and also a teacher at Success Roots Nursery and Primary School. I'd like to talk a little bit about the progress and how the 3 principles have shaped the future of our students at Success Roots Nursery and Primary School. Actually, as both my fellow have talked, actually the African school setting is really different from other places. As we all know, in Africa, especially here in Uganda, schools believe in punishments to educate students, especially corporal punishment, which is not actually always the case in educating children. So with the 3 principles, actually we have been able to implement these teachings into our school and also putting these teachings into our school curriculum, whereby it has been added on our timetable, whereby every week, each Friday of every week, we have to have these sessions with the students in our school. And actually, we are so thankful because the teachings have really been so successful, because we have been receiving some successful stories coming from the sharings of the students in our school. And as we all know, it is quite difficult for students to arise some questions when they are talking to their parents at home, especially when it comes to the part of love. Actually, many people, even parents, misunderstand what is love in Nakivale Refugee Settlement. So when they hear about love, they always think about this love of a boyfriend and a girlfriend. And this is what our students also know before going through these teachings of 3 principles. So when we started these teachings, at first, when we talked about the story of Zahara asks, what is love? Actually, it was such a big surprise because everyone was shouting like, how are we being taught about love in school? Is it part of the school curriculum, or how does it help us to teach us about love? Actually, some parents knew about that, and they even also came to ask, like, why are you trying to teach young people, young students about love? What is the importance of teaching them about love? So actually, we had to take the time to talk to the parents, to try to explain to them about the 3 principles. So they tried to understand some of them, and they came to know that they are really important, these teachings. So as we kept going on with the students, slowly, they started to get interested in the teachings. And actually up to now, I can say that they have been really interested. So they know that it is the program every Friday. We have to have a sharing, and whereby they come with some personal stories, whereby they have to share stories. I remember before we went for holidays, there is one student who is just 15 years old. She's a lady. She shared with us a personal story of what happened to her home. Actually, this is one of the best stories which have been happening with the transformation of the three principles. Actually, this young lady, she's just in primary 3, and she shared this story about what happened to her younger sister. So her younger sister is just 14 years old, but the younger sister doesn't go to school. So as this one comes to school, she is 15 years old, and as she is the elder, at home, they always thought that she is going to be spoilt because of her age and because of her, the way that she looks like. Actually, she's just 15 years old, but she looks to be older than she is. When you look at her, you might think she's 18 years old, but she's just 15. So with the teachings of three principles, when we have been teaching to them about the Zahara asks what is love story, and also the Zahara teaches what is love story. Actually, she has been getting a lot of knowledge and a lot of things, a lot of teachings, a lot of experiences to share. So they have been coming forward, the students, to share about what they have been going through at home. And this one shared about the story of her younger sister, what happened to her. So the younger sister is just 14 years old. She doesn't go to school, but she got spoiled. And yet the family was thinking that because she is young, for her, she can't get spoiled. But this one who is the elder one is the one who was going to be spoiled. So this, to make the story short, this 14 years old, she got impregnated, yet she is just 14 years old. So because of that, the family decided to take her back to Congo. But this one who's 15 years old came to share this story. Reason why? Because she said that actually I was also like my younger sister before. I could most of times want to spend time with my boyfriend, yet I'm just 15. So I could only think about the love of a boyfriend, of a girlfriend. So I could be most of the times with my fellow friends, with my fellow young girls, talking about love, talking about boyfriends. And actually, because of the teachings that I've been receiving here at school about the three principles, they have helped me and they have transformed me. Now I know how to guide my life. I know how to live my life. I know how to avoid falling into the trap of getting impregnated like my younger sister. So she said that it is only after seeing what happened to her younger sister that she started to share the teachings of three principles to her younger sister and to her family, to try to share to them how these teachings are very important. Because before, when she was trying to talk about the teachings, they were saying that they are not important, they are not of their level, they are not of her age. How can they teach them about love? But then it is only after when the younger sister got into problems and the elder one did not, that's when they understood that actually the three principles are very important. And coming back to the school life, the three principles have helped a lot our students because actually the way that they were behaving before receiving these teachings and the way that they are behaving right now, it is totally different. Actually, before, these students, they could not focus on schooling. They would focus on their own personal issues. Some of them could come to school just to pass time. Some of them could not come to school because they had some personal issues, personal problems, and they could not have anywhere to share these problems. So they felt like they were left alone. So they had no one to run to talk to receive guidance. But after receiving these teachings, the teachings have helped them to see that they can always go to someone, to talk to someone, and that someone will help them. Like Zahara had been going to Bibi McKenna to receive guidance. So it is the same way that even our students have also understood that anytime I have a personal problem, I have to go to the elders. I don't have to go to my peers who are of the same age like me and ask them for advice, because these ones, they don't have a lot of experiences. These ones, they will guide us the way that they want to guide their own personal lives. And when we follow the advice of our fellows, of our younger friends, then we are going to find that we are in troubles. Actually, we have been seeing a lot of these young children dropping out of school, especially in Nakivale Refugee Settlement, a lot of young girls being impregnated, a lot of young boys impregnated their fellow students and dropping out of school because they have not been having people to ask for guidance and for counseling. But with the Sahara stories, with the three principles, they have been able to receive guidance and counseling, and they feel free to come forward to us as teachers, and they share with us, especially when we are talking about the three principles in the session. They feel free to share with others when they have personal stories. They share with the class so that other students can learn from the mistakes of what they have gone through, and to share also some successful stories of the three principles have really shaped their lives. And this is really a great success. And we believe that with this one, even this new school year again, we are going to keep going forward. We are going to keep up the teachings, because the teachings have been really helping our students. They have helped them improve their performances at school. So even the way that they speak English, it has really changed, because every time we give them the books, they read the stories in English. So the stories have helped them to be good at reading stories and understanding. So actually, they have developed a lot of skills, not only personal stories and personal experiences, but also the speaking skills and the reading skills in English. So actually, the three principles have been really a success to us as a school, as a success with Nazarene Primary School. And we hope that it will keep being like this, and we will keep transforming the lives of our students.
Thank you so much, Gavin, for that wonderful message. And at this moment, I'm going to request if there is anyone who has a question for Gavin before we proceed to any other guest of the day. Anyone who is having a question for him about his school, about him handling the 3Ps in the school, please, you're most welcome. And if anyone has something to top on what he has said about 3Ps in his school, you're also most welcome. Anyone with a question for Gavin?
I have a quick question.
Yes, Cheryl.
Yeah. I'm just interested in how, when you brought the three principles to the school, was there any resistance to the other teachers in wanting to bring this to the students? And if so, how did you overcome that?
Thank you so much, Cheryl. Gavin, please go ahead and reply that question.
Yeah, actually, resistance was there, and even the teachers, it was really so hard for them to understand the three principles. I remember when we started with Mr. Harry, actually, we started many teachers to go through the teachings ourselves, to go through the sessions as teachers, but many teachers resisted. They were like, we don't see the importance of these teachings. They are not going to help us with anything. And we don't see how they're going to help our students. But actually, after just going through them for some quite months, we came to understand that these teachings are very important. Actually, even today, all teachers in the school, they have now seen the importance of these teachings, and they have said that we did the good thing to continue with these teachings. Before they resisted, but at this time, everyone is quite literally 100% with these teachings to be in the school.
Wow, thank you so much, Gavin. Cheryl, are you contented with the answer?
Absolutely, thank you.
You're welcome. So maybe to add on that, Cheryl, what Gavin has said, most times when you introduce something new to people, they really need to first see, does it work immediately? No, so when it comes to teachers, they need a solution that works immediately. So they don't take time to teach it, to learn it, to embrace it. So if Gavin says it wasn't easy for him to bring the 3Ps to be taught in school, we can understand it. For those who work in schools, bringing something like that in a school, it's somehow difficult, because teachers will look at how is it going to help us very, very quickly to sharpen the kids, to put them where we want, which is not going to work. For 3Ps, it's going to be a learning process whereby we teach it with love, and some teachers will not want to do that. We will not like to be polite to the kids, so they'll end up opposing it. But thank God, Gavin, they finally embraced it, and it's now working in the school, and it's bringing much, much impact. And I believe teachers are also happy about it. So any other question before we proceed to the next speaker, please? You're most welcome, Shaira. Thank you for joining. Happy to see you here.
Hi, Olivia.
All right. Hi. Okay, you can still write the question down. You can still ask it any other after any other speaker. It is okay, as you're still thinking about the questions and anything to talk on. Meanwhile, we can proceed to our next speaker. Our next speaker is from Atibi School. It is found in Busia. It's a border of Kenya and Uganda. And I happen to know him physically, and I happen to be a live witness of how the 3Ps have really impacted the kids at school. I happen to have seen the joy, the smiling faces on the kids and the teachers. I happen to see how 3Ps have brought so much joy in that school of Atibi. So you're going to allow me welcome the director, who is called Wandela Joseph. He's the director of the Atibi School, which is also known as the Atibi Foundation Ministries. And he has been teaching 3Ps for some good time. And lucky enough, he has introduced it to the school, to the teachers. They embraced it, the whole school staff. So he has some amazing, amazing story of how 3Ps have impacted the school. So together with me, let us welcome Wandela Joseph. You're welcome.
Yeah, thanks, Livia, and to all our guests, I want to say you're most welcome. My name is Joseph Wandera. I'm a teacher by profession and a social worker. I happen to be the director of Atibi School and also the founding director of Atibi Foundation Ministries, found in Busia at the border of Kenya in the eastern region. Yes, Atibi School is a primary and a nursery school, and most importantly, a champion of 3Ps in Africa. And just to give a bit of a background, yeah, when the 3Ps were introduced to us by Jim and Harry, it was a new concept to us. But along the way, we learned that it was a life concept speaking to our day-to-day work. And from that time, as a director, when they introduced 3Ps to me, I first applied the 3Ps to myself, because I was looking at, yes, this concept, how does it work? How is it going to help my school? And after a series of sessions between me and our teachers, our facilitators, Jim and Harry, I started discovering the importance of 3Ps, and I did a self-reflection in as me as director. At that time, as a school, we're facing a lot of challenges in our day-to-day operations, to an extent of thinking of closing up, leaving very innocent children. But when the 3Ps were introduced to me as a person, one, they spoke life to me. I started discovering the power of thought, the power of mind, consciousness, and letting the negative go and concentrating on the positive. That's the time I made a decision and said, I will not give up. Because after several sessions, when Papa Jim spoke to us about the power of mind, power of positive thought, I made that decision and said, I will not give up. And I'm proud to say that possibly that school is standing today because 3Ps really spoke life into us as directors, as administrators, and we kept pushing on amidst many challenges. But besides that, after a series of sessions, now we introduced 3Ps to our teachers. And like my co-guests have said, Africa's context is a bit different, where they believe an African child must learn with a cane, a stick, and like the order of the day. And so when the 3Ps were introduced to us, starting to talk about mind, positive thought, consciousness, but also bringing in closer the power of love and forgiveness, forgiving yourself, this went deep into the teachers. And as a school, for the start, we made the self-reflection with the teachers where we were. And after learning 3Ps and comparing, we discovered as an institution that we just very contrary. One, we could not provide the necessary love to the children, the necessary care to the children. The compassion was not there because it was just like we are adults, we are the teachers, we have a final say. The children cannot contribute. My role here is to send a child, harass a child, and like that was the end of the day. But after a series of 3Ps, we discovered as teachers that yes, as models of these children, we have also to do our part. And how did it start? By discovering that yes, children are equal human beings who deserve respect, who deserve love, who deserve encouragement, and they need compassion. And so we went through this, and as I speak today, we saw our teachers change. I want to tell you that in our school, those days before 3Ps, I think a stick was one of the instructional materials. But we discovered that we can do things in a different way and offer love and offer compassion without a stick. And so as we speak, this no longer happens because teachers have discovered, yes, that children can also be something better, the power of a positive thought on these children, positive mind on these children, and they have taken away the negative ill thinkings about children, where sometimes children come at school, they slept hungry, they are miserable, and the teacher is looking at this child as a failure. So at that school, that has gone out, and why is because we really concentrated and understood the power of 3Ps towards these children and how to forgive the children, the teachers to forgive themselves and offer the best love. In regard to our day-to-day work, I should also successfully say that, yes, as a school, when we discovered that 3Ps were very helpful in supporting our day-to-day school activities, but also bringing closer our children, our students to the teachers and the school environment, we embrace the concept. And as a school, it is now mandatory that every week we have 3P sessions. Every time when a teacher goes to class, he introduces a topic with a summary concept of 3Ps, where he's emphasizing love, giving hope to the children and compassion. And this has brought actually more children closer to the school. Before the 3Ps, there are children who would attend lessons once a week. Why? Because they come at school and they're not finding a loving home. A child leaves home and maybe has issues, a parent is harassing them. When they come at school, they feel they should have comfort, and the things are no longer there. So after 3Ps, the children started now finding a loving home at school. The number of absenteeism reduced simply because the teachers and the administrators, we changed the way we're doing things. Where we're using a stick as an instructional material, we said, no, we can speak love, we can encourage children. Where we're leaving children to play alone, teachers we discovered that yes, children are also equally like us. We need to engage them, we need to play with them. When you come at school today, we have games and teachers are participating with the children. When you go to class, there are stories of love between teachers and children, encouraging them. And this has increased happiness to the extent that, yes, now children are feeling free to share their personal issues with teachers. For example, one child could simply come and say, okay, teacher so-and-so, I don't have a book. My dad has not brought for me a book. But before 3Ps, like, you cannot come to school without a pen. That is a crime. A teacher is going to chase you even before explaining why maybe I don't have a pen. So we have seen the relationship grow between our children and our teachers. And this has actually increased our enrollment, the number of children coming to school every day, but also the joy at school, where a teacher now can come at school and the child is running to hug this child, this teacher, something that was never before. You go to school and children are saying you are most welcome. A child comes to school and you see a teacher is embracing this child, welcoming this child with a lot of joy, with a lot of happiness. Something that has even built trust in our parents. And as we speak at Atibi School, just because of the 3Ps, we have seen now the number of children grow, the happiness, the joy at school. As a result of 3Ps, we're also blessed with balls. Currently, we go to the field and play with these children, run with these children, and children like that, they celebrate a lot just because of that joy. Before 3Ps, most of our children were sitting down on the floor. Sylvia can witness this. She came to Atibi School and like, okay, this is a school in an African setting. But because of 3Ps, we have received a lot of compassion. Today, our children have chairs, and a child is just coming to school because has been blessed with a chair, and when sitting on this chair, it feels loved, a lot of joy, a lot of happiness. And this is something that has really challenged them to even do a lot of concentration in class. Every week when we speak about 3Ps, children are like, now, teacher, can we read Sahara as books? Sahara asks about love. We read those books every week. Our children now have picked interest. They even request for these books. They go with them at home. And even when they read and they don't understand anything, something, they come back and they're asking the teachers. All this has been as a result of 3Ps. But from where I sit as a director, I want to say that, yes, 3Ps brought life into Atibi Junior School, and we have seen the school grow. Our environment has changed. Now we have a conducive learning environment because of the genesis of 3Ps. Our children can interact freely with the teachers, and even those that were discouraged in class in terms of performance, our teachers have now learned that even when a child has failed homework, you don't use a stick. You don't rebuke this child, but you can speak to this child with love. You can correct this child with love.
Excuse me, Joseph. Joseph. Yeah, you can start winding up.
Okay.
You can start winding up, please.
Okay, and I was just saying that, yes, As a result of 3Ps that has brought children and teachers together, we have seen this increase our performance. Children are now performing better. The 3Ps has also been extended to our parents in a date school. We invited our parents to talk to them about 3Ps. And as a result of 3Ps emphasizing love to these children, we have now seen our parents start to provide basic necessities. Our parents can buy books, can buy pens, they can provide those small things just because we have emphasized the power of 3Ps, the power of love, giving children happiness. So as a school, we are really very, very happy, very appreciative for 3Ps in our date school. And our commitment is we shall continue being champions and supporting our community, supporting our children, supporting our parents to grow in this so that we have a changed community. Thanks, and over to Sylvia.
Thank you so much, Joseph. Wow, that was a very good presentation, just like the one Gavin did. You are great, great teachers of 3Ps in schools. The way we are hearing the testimonies of how 3Ps have greatly changed your schools. So before we go any further, I would like to give this opportunity for anyone who has a question for Joseph or something to top on what Joseph has said about the 3Ps in schools. Anyone with a question, please? Anyone with a top up, you're welcome.
Yes, I was saying 3Ps have changed. 3Ps in schools have changed our parents. One, through 3Ps, the attitude of our children has positively changed. Our children began to see things in a positive way. They started confessing positive to themselves. And actually, the children themselves went ahead and started talking about 3Ps with the parents, telling parents, no, we can make it even when we sleep hungry today, God will provide. Most importantly, the love children started sharing with their parents. For example, before the 3Ps, no child would go home and tell, mommy, daddy, good evening, I love you. Mommy, they have told us at school to come and say, you know, happiness is free. Mommy, you need to be happy. And, you know, like these small words started changing the parents, and they embraced the three principles. But besides that, like I said, Sylvia, the concept of 3Ps at a date school, we said now we cannot achieve this without engaging the parents, and we invited them, we talked to them, and they saw the whole concept was very, very, very positive. And as a result, they discovered that there are better alternatives of upbringing children where you can offer love, forgiveness, think positive about these children. And as a result, that has helped them to even start providing scholastic materials to their children. And we have seen that connection grow, that bond grow, simply because of the concept of 3Ps. Over to Sylvia.
Wow, thank you so much, Joseph, for that great response. Yeah, so we've got to know that the impact of the 3Ps, as we are teaching the student 3Ps, they change, they positively change. So when they positively change, they go back home and the parents get to notice the changes in their children. Definitely, they are going to look for why they are changing. And then that's how the 3Ps are going to enter into the parents, into the homes. You know, when the kid goes back home with a lot of love, a lot of joy, a lot of happiness, he enjoyed school, he loves the teachers, he loves the environment, he brings the love home. Definitely, the parent is also going to be caught up with that feeling. And then here we see 3Ps entering even in the parents, even in homes, in our communities. Thank you so much, Joseph. So we are going to go to our next guest, but I'm going to give it over to Philip to start from there to welcome our third guest. Meanwhile, if you have a question, please, you can write it down in the message. We are going definitely to read it, and the people responsible, they will answer the questions. And if you also have anything to say, you can still write it in the comment section. We are going to read it for you. Thank you so much. Joseph, Philip's up to you.
Yeah, thank you, Sylvia. Looks like Paddy is not there. Is Paddy there? Because Paddy has not joined yet.
Okay.
Yeah, but I still have more question to ask about. This goes to both Joseph and Gervin. We have seen some schools do punish students when sometimes don't follow school rules, and hence it leads suffering, and students feel as if they are tortured at school. So how have you managed this, and to make sure that you show the students that you love them, and they should continue like concentrating in their studies? And of course, I know students sometimes they misbehave, you have to punish them. But as a 3P educator or someone who's sharing 3P in the school, how have you managed this so that you make love is flowing, and you make also manage the school as well?
Yeah,
Maybe we'll hear from
thank
Justin
you,
first.
Philip. Maybe I'll come first.
Okay, go ahead.
Let me come first. Yes, how we have managed this, for example, at a date school, yes, we have the school rules and regulations, but the genesis of 3Ps also made us to discover a lot that we can do things differently. And how we have managed this is, one, through engagement of all teachers in 3Ps. At a date school, all teachers are champions of 3Ps. 3Ps helped us to discover that, corporal punishments is not the way to go. But you can train a child positively, create a positive mind, forgive, build love in this child without even beating and giving a child hard punishments. So the involvement of the teachers in 3Ps have really helped us to take away some of these punishments that come along the way. But the other thing is, we have engaged our children a lot in 3Ps. And like I said, our children have totally changed. Before that, we had cases like child X has beaten child Y, child X has stolen the book of child Y. But 3Ps have taught our children discipline. Even when they find a book in a compound, they will bring back that book. And they're like, no, this is a book of so and so, please give them. Those days, somebody would have gotten an advantage to run away with the book. So the 3Ps have really even helped us to reduce such cases in schools. And for us, nowadays, those punishments are no longer there, just because everyone is engaged. They know what to do, when and how. Over.
Yeah, thank you. Let's hear from Gervin concerning that question.
So thank you so much for the floor. Actually, I'm not going to say much because what my fellow has said completely aligns with what I was about to say. So how we have managed that case in our school is, first of all, to get all students to get engaged. All our students are well aware of the 3 principles and how they have to behave. Actually, even our teachers, they have come to understand that it is not always about giving corporal punishment the only way to educate a child. So we believe that sometimes we can all be wrong, but the best thing to deal with such situations is to give time to one another. First of all, to give time to the other person to explain themselves, and you listen to them. And then by that, then you are going to know how you are going to deal with them. But before actually the 3 principles, we could not really care. So we could only do what we believed was true. We never believed that even teachers sometimes can be wrong. And actually today, some people still believe that a teacher is never wrong. So it is always the students who are wrong, because for them, they're children, so they are always wrong. But with the 3 principles, we came to understand that even for us, we can sometimes be wrong as teachers. And the only way to make sure that we go hand in hand with our students is to create that harmony of understanding, of giving one another time, not always rushing to decisions, because once we rush to decisions, then we are not going to take the right decisions. So the best thing that we do is, first of all, to give one another time, to listen to them, and then we can see what to do. Because sometimes you find, like in Nakivale Refugee Settlement, we have problems always, and the problems will always be part of our lives. So you find sometimes there is a problem of water. There is water outage everywhere. So you find the students on that day, most of them come very late because they have to wait, they have to go to fetch water. Some have to travel to far distances to look for water, then come back, bathe, prepare themselves, and then come to school. So you find with that, they are late for classes. So most of the times you find teachers always waiting for them with big sticks at the entrance. So once you come, no explanations, you just get sticks. So sometimes other students could see that and they go back home. They say, no, they are not going to cane me because it is not my mistake. There was a big problem for everyone. So if they are going to cane you, for me, no, I go back. And you find with that one, a lot of students go back home, and you find that day, the presence in the classes will be very little. So it brings a problem to the development of these students. But with the 3 principles, we came to understand, we give them time to explain themselves, and when we use our right minds to think, we see that, yes, this is really something that doesn't have to be punished for. And then we just let them enter in school, and that has really helped us as a school with our students to keep going forward hand in hand. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. There's a question also from Stuart here. How do you always advise students, especially those who have issues at home with their parents and neighbors, through 3P in your schools? You got the question?
Yeah, thank you, Philip. Thank you, Philip. In regard to that, my quick response and what we have done at Adet School is just one. In Adet School, yes, there are those cases where children have serious issues with their parents. And even a child says, I hate mommy, I hate daddy. For example, in Busia, it is common with the fathers because they don't give children a lot of time compared to the mothers. But also fathers are the ones that are very good at corporal punishments. And so what we have done with the children at school who have issues, one, we have taught them to forgive. Forgive and offer love. Forgiveness is one key component with a lot of power. Because what happens sometimes, these children hate themselves. We have children at school who used to hate themselves, no love, and they're like, that dad of mine one time beat me to this extent, I will never forgive them. So through peace, we have taught our children to forgive themselves, forgive the neighbors, and just offer love. We even had an instance with the teacher at school who had issues with the neighbors, but through a series of preaching forgiveness, talking about 3Ps, love, like they forgive themselves, and even after that start to express love to these parents, to these people at home, and in a way, they also calm down. Like every time you show someone the happiness, the joy, somebody will sense and say, okay, this child has no problem with me. We have seen this with the parents, where parents even came at school and said, no, this child used to be very stubborn, but I forgave him because he came to me and told me, mommy, daddy, I'm very sorry. So that could be my response to that question. Thanks. And over to Philip.
Yeah, thank you so much. Do anyone have something to add from there? Or any other question?
like to answer also to the question that was asked. How do we really advise the students, especially those who have issues at home with their parents and neighbors? Yeah, this is such a great question. So as Wandera has said, the first thing that we also do at Success Roots is first to make the students understand that we have things that we can't control in life. And sometimes things happen without us having a say on them. So we just have to let these things go because we can't control everything. The second thing is to teach them about understanding, because understanding is such a crucial thing in living harmoniously with other people in the community. So you find most of times when we don't understand other people's feelings, it becomes a big problem. And with our parents, especially in Nakivale, you find parents, once they have just a small problem, they change their mood. And once they change their mood, even if a child passes just by them, it becomes a big problem. So a small thing can turn into a big thing. So once the student or the child does not understand the situation in which the parent is in at the time, so it will become a big problem. So the child will fail to understand what is going on with the feelings of the parents. So with that, we teach them to understand other people's feelings, and that we will not always have control over what other people think or feel or what other people say about us, but we can only always control our emotions. So the best thing is to know how to control our own emotions, to not let the reactions of those other people to destroy us, to affect us negatively. So every time they find themselves in such a situation, they just have to create this positive feeling into themselves, and then this other problem will not look again like a big problem to them. But then it sometimes also becomes a problem with other people who don't understand about the three principles, because once they talk to you, they talk over you, and you keep your mind calm. You don't respond to them. You don't get mad. So some of them say like, you are looking under me. It's like you are neglecting me. So for me, I'm talking to you. For you, you are just there with a quiet mind. You are just calm, as if you don't care. So you find all of these situations are very complicating. But the other good thing is that, especially last year, where we had the three principles classes with the parents of our students who were also coming to learn about the three principles, because the students had gone home and talked to their parents about the teachings of three principles. Every time they find themselves in a problem at home, they share these teachings that they receive at school with their parents at home. So the parents felt also interested in these teachings, and that's how we also started a class for the parents. And actually the parents learned more, and they also received a lot of transformations, and it really helped everyone. So that's how we deal with such cases in our school. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gervin. We're happy for all those answers. Any more question? Any more question from the team?
No, no more questions on the comment section. Just I also want to add on what Gavin was about parents. As we are teaching the 3Ps to the students in school, we always have opportunities to also get the parents in ways of parents meeting. They have come to check on the academic performance of their kids. They have come to interact in some social event at school with their children. We always utilize that opportunity to teach them about 3Ps, so that we may not only teach the child, like Stuart's question that was saying, how do you advise students, especially when they have issues at home with their parents and neighbors? It's very, very hard for a kid who knows 3Ps to go home and find a parent who is ignorant about the 3Ps. You know, in African culture, kids are never right. It's parents who are right. So this kid is going to have a very hard time dealing with a parent, as much as he knows the 3Ps. So in such cases, we always also deal with the parents. We get them in opportunities where we always see them. Parents meeting, we call them at school. We call them to see their children, check on their performance. In such ways, we get them, sit them down and talk about 3Ps with them so they can balance the child and the parent. In that way, it isn't the staying of a child at home with a parent. Yeah. Yeah, Philip,
thank you,
I think
thank you, Cynthia. Yeah, thank you. I have one more question to the teachers. I have found when I'm sharing with old people that I may call parents of the students, when we are sharing to them, most of them are having a challenge of overthinking. They are thinking much more of the past. They are thinking of what they lost. So do you find, I'm asking whether you're finding the same case with students. And for example, you have found a student is having overthinking, is in class, but is as if he's absent. He's overthinking about the hardships in the camp or the hardships that happen there at home. If you found out that the student is not concentrating, how do you advise the students that keeps concentrating in class so that he can succeed?
Thanks,
Yeah.
Philip. Maybe just again to just give a quick response. Yes, those cases are there where you will meet students who are not concentrating in class. And when you dig deeper, the root cause may not be the subject, but they have challenges that are following them from home. And so in relation to 3Ps, one thing I should say is, again, 3Ps has helped us to discover our children more because of the love we are expressing. In adult school, where we find such challenges, what we do is a teacher sits with a child and they freely share something that was not there before. But you know, by the time a student is opening up to you, it means he has trusted you. So Philip, what I'm trying to communicate is 3Ps have helped the teachers, for example, in adult school, to build trust. The rapport between the children and the teachers has increased. And this has helped children to open up. And every time the children open up, even it helps us, it gives us a genesis. And you know, most of these issues are background issues. I don't have a meal, my father cannot afford. And this is how the 3Ps are now applicable. We have taught them to forgive themselves. We have taught them the power of positive thought, power of positive mind, changing the negative into positive and just living into a positive future. And in this way, we have even seen the levels of children beginning to grow in terms of concentration. Over to you, Philip.
Thank you. That is so beautiful answers. May I hear from Gervin if you have something to add there?
Yeah, thank you so much. To add on that, as the Wanderer said, yes, we always have such cases, even in our school at Success Roots, whereby you find the students are overthinking and they're absent-minded in class because of the problems that they are going through at their homes. And as these students are refugees, you find most of them, sometimes when they're in class, they are always talking about the past. You find they are sharing stories of how they were living back in their countries, how they used to do things, how things are very different here. So you find most of the times they are talking about the past. And you find that every time they talk about the past, all their mind gets stuck in the past. So they will not be concentrated on the present, on what is happening now. And that was leading them to not be focused in class. And then even the performance was really down in class. But with the 3 principles, we managed to teach them to understand that what has passed. We don't have to always get stuck in the past, because once we get stuck in the past, we will never move forward. We will never develop. We will always be remaining behind. So that past has to be removed from us and get exchanged with the future. We need to accept the reality. That is the first thing that we teach them, to accept the reality, to accept who they are. Actually, we usually say in class that home is where you are. I can be today a refugee. I have to understand that as I'm a refugee, I'm living in a refugee camp. This is my home, and I have to make sure I get the best out of this place where I am. I don't have to always wait for years to pass and say, maybe let me wait until when I will get out of this place, because that is the mind that most of refugees have back there in Nakivale. Even the parents, you find many of them, they have skills, they can do things and they get money, but they don't, because they are just thinking about being maybe relocated tomorrow to another country. So they say, okay, we will start doing those things when we go to those countries. That's when we will start doing what we have to do. So their mind is stuck in one place. You find them every time talking about the past, not thinking about the present and the future. So to deal with that, we tell them, you have to forget your past and you have to take your present and you accept it. Accept yourself who you are. That is the first thing to living a happy life. Once you accept yourself, once you accept what you're going through, what you love yourself, you will really see how life is going to change positively. So the second thing is to love yourself, because loving oneself is one of the best things here. So many of the people don't love themselves. That's why you find the people getting drunk, getting into alcohol, other people dropping out of school. They say, even if we go to school, it will not help us with anything because we are still refugees here, no jobs. So it becomes really tough. But with the 3 principles, people's minds have started to get opened, and they have started to see that even if I'm a refugee, I can do something and I can live a happy life even if I'm a refugee. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Gervin, for great answers, and of course, sharing much about past, sharing student that past does not exist. It is so powerful because we understand if we live and think about past, then that is negativity, and we are getting nothing out of there. Rather than let go of all of that, and we live into present, which is now. Thank you, everyone. We welcome you, Sylvia, maybe for your closing remarks, and we can wrap it up if there is no any other question from the team.
Thank you so much, Phillips. Before we wrap it up, we have our last guest speaker. You have just maybe forgotten. Who is going to also? Yes. Yeah, we have our last speaker. He has been on since we started, and he has been patiently waiting for his turn. Yeah, so we are also going to give an opportunity to one of the teachers of Adete School. He's a headmaster of Adete School, the school where Joseph teaches. He's also going to tell us his experiences with the 3Ps in the school that he teaches, with the students that he teaches with. So together, let us welcome Mbulu Kenneth Wafula. You are welcome, Kenneth.
Oh, thank you so much. Maybe it is quite hard to speak when almost people have finished, but I have some experience as a teacher, as an educator of 3Ps in Africa and specifically in Busia. And as just my fellow hosts were saying, you realize that in African schools, that we are fond of shouting, beating, corporal punishments. And when before us at junior school, getting to know about the 3Ps, we realized that there are things which has come on changing because of the powers of the 3Ps. Like, for example, in a junior school, we realized that our children used to come to school very late. But because they never loved themselves, they never knew what they were doing. And after us telling them, after teaching them that, you know, you need to love yourself, you need to love the school, you need to love the teachers, we have seen this happening, that now children who are coming late, they can come early at school, they can attend all lessons, they can do all activities in the school as in the case of maybe playing. It makes them so much happy. And we also realize that when we are talking about the powers of the 3Ps, you see that some kind of change in respect of the children, respect of the teachers, respect of even the peers of these children at school. They all love themselves, and for that purpose, they realize that yeah, we are also there, and we do exist, and because of the love, the powers of love, you see our children becoming lovely, even when they are doing their tasks as being assigned to them, maybe by the teachers, by the parents at their homes. You see them doing them wholeheartedly, just for the purpose of making them happy, and for the purpose of making the subordinates also happy, for the purpose of making their life to be complete. And we also realize that as they are doing this, at a junior school, we saw positive responsiveness. We see our children being happy, we see our children responding to each and everything which teachers try to tell them. And at the junior school, we have also made 3Ps to be part of our lessons on every week, just like Joseph was saying. The teachers and the children, we now become learners of 3Ps each and every week. And it has helped us so much by even giving them the books of Zahara. You will see a child coming to you, sir, I want to learn with you a book of Zahara. Then I say, what do you understand about it? Because the child has borrowed this book, you realize that a child becomes one of you and tries to give you life examples. And at a junior school, the 3Ps has made it so good, so enticing, because we see it has instilled discipline, it has showed some responsibilities to our teachers, to our children, even to the parents, because the parents have become so more responsive, more responsible, as in providing the basic necessities, the children, as in sending them on time, as in picking them. And that is maybe as we just, there was the last speaker, most of the things my colleagues have shared, it is actually, I don't see any difference. However, I can also not fail say what we see impacting the life of the children, impacting the life of the community, impacting the life of our teachers. That's what we call the staff. Thank you so much. Back to you, Sylvia.
Yeah, I was saying I wanted to add on something as Kenneth and Joseph and Gavin were sharing. I also happen to be dealing with some children whom I've been dealing with for some 4 years now. By the time I got to know these children, they were in a very remote village where no help was rising. Like they didn't have any hope of having help or someone recognizing them and knowing them. It's a remote village, very remote, and they had traumas over what happened in their region for many years ago, with some robbers and some attacks. So they still had those traumas, and then it affected the whole village, both the parents and the children. The village was so dark with sorrow, no happiness, no joy, no love. So that is the village we came to, and we brought the ray of hope. How? We started by preaching the word of God, definitely, because we are missionaries. Or we started sharing the word of God. We started sharing how Jesus loves them, how they should forgive, how they should put their trust in Jesus. He can comfort them. And that's when, before we got to know about the 3Ps. So as we are still in the line of preaching and sharing God's word with them, which of course was helping them, then we came to know the 3Ps by Jim and Harry. And then we started learning the 3Ps, and we first embraced them as a family because we saw it was something good. So I and my family, we first embraced the 3Ps. We first started acting, working, walking in them right from our home, doing everything. So we got impacts, we got positive results. And then we saw it was something very good to share with the children that we are handling. They were delicate. They were very delicate. They had a lot of pain, a lot of grief on their hearts. They never tasted what they call love. No. So we started sharing. We joined the biblical way with the 3Ps because they are all the same. What the Bible tells us is definitely what the 3Ps teach us. Teaches about love, joy, happiness. God doesn't want to see you unhappy. It's not his intention to see you unhappy. He loves you. He loves you. He loves to see you smiling. He loves to see you happy in happy moments, enjoying. So we started teaching the 3Ps to these kids. We started teaching them love, loving themselves, forgetting about the past. Just like Gavin was saying, they should forget it happened. They cannot reverse it. They don't have control over it. But right now, they should focus on the future, the opportunity that God has given them to enjoy the life they still have on earth. No, so we kept teaching them, and guess what happened? We were teaching them theory and then practical. You know, as you teach a kid about love, you have to put in those practical action. You hug them, play with them, touch them, feed them, provide for them what they don't have. That is, you're showing them that love, you're teaching them, you're telling them. And then we started showing practical love, theory love. And then we have kids who are very excited, kids who are very happy right now. They feel loved. We got help from different people because it was a situation that needed really help. We got help. We got help from people who love the kids, like Jim Beck, who offered to take some kids to school, be paying for them. We got some balls from the 3P educators, Harry, Jim. They sent balls. We got the Zahara books. On the tape, even on the books, these kids kept hearing the tape. The kids kept reading and learning, understanding the concept of this. We joined hand together. So right now, we are still with our children, but they have greatly improved. And a witness would be Jim, because sometimes he talks to them on the phone and they are very excited. They are very happy. Even the parents in the community, you know, we interact with them and we literally also teach them. They work on the same base with their children. You know, so we told them things happened. It was a tragedy. It was very bad, but you can't hold on it. It's time to look at the future and go ahead. It's time to love yourself. It's time to let go, enjoy, have a positive mind. You know, so 3Ps have not only worked in the in the schools. It is also working with us who are teaching children, not in schools, but we are teaching them from wherever we work from. We are dealing with them. So it has really, really worked. But one thing I want to remind us, it has to start with us before we teach it to the children. Definitely it starts with you, it starts with me as a teacher, as a director, as a parent, in your different positions. The love has to start with you. That forgiveness has to start with you. The happiness, the joy, it has to start with you. Then you can also share it with your children, with the people you work with. So 3Ps, we have testified it in our homes, personally in my home, in the community I work with, the kids I work with. I'm really enjoying the environment, the atmosphere, ever since I embraced them and knew them. Yeah, so that is what I wanted to add on, Philip. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Sylvia. And what I can add on there, everyone has to understand that the answers we are looking for are always within us, not outside, but within us. Teachers, you have been sharing still principles, but what you are sharing is always within yourselves, because you have heard about that experience. Now you are sharing the love that you are having, and you are sharing it to your own students, because you cannot share what you don't have. So it has been so great to host you, and we are very happy for what you shared to us and to the world. So we are still looking forward to continue our shows as usual, as we repeat these shows every 2 weeks on Tuesday at 6 p.m. Uganda time. And we are very happy for everyone who turned up for this show. It has been so great to have you, and you respect and hear us, that we learn together. So we are very happy, and we are looking forward to continue with our shows as 3P African educators as usual, and we shall have our show also on love and forgiveness on 4th Feb, and we look forward also to have you together, and we share together, we learn together. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, before maybe we close, I also want to remind one thing as we are closing, that the 3Ps are naturally given gifts from God, but they were discovered by a gentleman called Sidin Banks. You can go and check. There are some of his books that he left behind, a lot of books that can teach you more insights, more things about the 3Ps and in life generally. Yeah, he's called Sidin Banks. You can get him on YouTube. He is there. And then we also want to remind you that you can also get in touch with the 3Ps in Africa. We are on Facebook, we are on YouTube, even the webinars that Philip was talking about. So you just have to get in touch with those. You go on Facebook, you look on 3P in Africa, you have us there. You go on YouTube, 3P in Africa, you have us there. Then you also keep reading Sidin Banks books. They are also on YouTube. Just put the name Sidin Banks. You'll get that guy, read his books, learn more about the 3Ps. And don't forget to share it. You learn, you share. You learn, you share. Thank you so much for attending and being together with us. We love you. Let us fly. Philip, you know what fly means. First, love
we'll
yourself.
Be eagles.
Let us all fly. Let us first love ourselves, then we share the love. So let us fly. All of us, we fly first. Thank you so much.